Professor Tony Diaz, El Libro Traficante. This is Nuestra Palabra, Latinos having their say. We're with Monica Villarreal, our Artist of the Week. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Estás en casa, but tell people about home for you and where you're from, because you are for sure Houston.
Yes, I am Monica Villarreal. I am from Houston. My parents originally are from near North Side. My dad was, and my mom landed in East End. And then we all lived in the North Side, like North Line kind of area when I was younger. And then we moved a little more northeast when I was in my teens. So I'm from Houston, born and raised.
And your work is also global because you do everything from graphic arts to fighting for civil rights to direct activism and also visual arts. That's why we're celebrating your piece. We're so happy that we can work with you and that your print will be featured part of our website. You're our Visual Artist of the Week, and it's titled Labels. I love to hear about your origins because I can almost see how that fuels this particular piece. So, how did you get all the way from the north side of Houston to this international level work while you still call H-Town home?
Well, I believe that actually that piece that I made, Labels, really sets a tone for myself and how I identify. It was difficult for me when I created that piece to really think about identity in general because there's this like idea of Latinos or Chicanas and Chicanas with an X and, you know, you're brown, but then you're yellow, but then you're, you know, but then you're white on your birth certificate. And it's so convoluted. It just feels like labels and the idea of labels, it's so broad because people can label you and then you can label yourself. And then what does that all really mean, right? And so that's kind of what the piece, I identify with the piece so much when I think about all the words that I put on there, as well as even the imagery. It is multimedia in the sense that I've added text into photography, and it's a graphic piece. And so I've divided it into a sepia tone as well as color tone to kind of talk about like the antiguo or the past and the present and what some of these labels we identify with when we think about our past, our ancestors, as well as when we think about our present. And it's just kind of a mix of all of that.
But that's fantastic because you're combining the visual arts with the literary arts because you actually have words on there. Additionally, I like that you're breaking down something that affects me deeply in that I don't like to jump into a box for people. What I like about art is it gives us this way to amplify our identities. That's why we wanted to match it up with the Latino Poetry Anthology. It's from the Library of America. And we're teaming it up, both up, because here there's a whole section identity, but also poetry complicates that instead of makes it easy. Likewise, you're a visual artist, a danzante. Tell us a little bit about the origins of your activism, which did that come before your artistic work or they happen together?
Danza for me started when I was in my mid 20s. And it was like after some impactful things happened in my life. My dad had passed away and I was in search of different things, you know. And so I went to Mexico and I saw it for the first time and I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh man, I put it out to the universe. Like, I want this in my life. And all of a sudden I saw, like a year later, a few months after, I saw some danzantes at a march, at a immigrant rights march that I went to. It was like maybe it was May Day or something. And it was in downtown. And I approached one of them, which is Mario Oliveira, which he's a very talented artist himself, someone that inspired me to do art too. And he, you know, I asked him, how do I get, you know, become a danzante? And he was like, well, you just have to show up to the practice, you know, and just continue to show up. And I did. And that's become part of my identity now, you know. And so that piece came after my search of my ancestry or getting deeper into my roots and really trying to understand who I am. It was a very confusing time for me, and I put it all in like one piece in a sense.
That's powerful. And additionally, from the Nuestra Palabra side of things, it's been fantastic because you've helped us create visual art pieces for some of our campaigns for civil rights, for ethnic studies. We also had you on the earlier versions of this show, which was a radio show, and you came out and you talked about different groups, especially promoting the rights of women in the arts. Tell us a little bit about that and that trajectory.
That's actually around the time too. Probably a little earlier times. When I was 25 years old, I helped found an organization called Creative Women Unite, and I did it with the help of women who were already creating art and making an impact in the city. And we were really in search of a space or creating space for women to exhibit their work, to say what they want through art, to performance arts, visual arts. Even we did film. We did pretty much every media. It was during a time where there wasn't many spaces for women. And it wasn't just because we were colored women, but it was like women in general. And so a lot of that work was done for free, because women felt so passionate about creating space for ourselves that we all really just united to do that. And it was very powerful time. I feel like now it's a different time where there is more space for women, and I'm really grateful that we were maybe hopefully able to provide that when there wasn't any of those spaces.
And you did, and thank you for doing that. And we're so happy then that we compare the Latino Poetry Library of America Anthology with your powerful piece called Labels. And for folks who want to support a Latina visual artist, a Latino literary organization, arts organization in the community, you can go to our website, nuestrapalabra.org. You can purchase this print. It's a limited run, but this really is a powerful addition to your family library, public library, or underground library. And at the end of the day, we're here to spread art and culture. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for tuning in.